Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Chestnut channel. I seem to be very happy today, and I had to think about it for a moment. It's because I'll be in Vermont in about a week and a half at the Quechee Games. Go to quecheegames.org for more info on that. My guest today will be joining me there, and I hope you're there with us in Vermont. It's a beautiful place. August the 24th in Quechee, Vermont, for the day of all things Scottish. And one of those highlights will be Jamie Laval, nationally acclaimed traditional Scottish fiddle player, composer, and educator. Hello, Jamie. Thanks for being here in Chestnut.
Hi, Ray. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. I said educator at the end there, and I know that's a big part of what you do. And since I've been reading some things you sent me and we've been emailing back and forth, I've learned quite a bit from you about the music and its history and the stories behind it, which I know you'd like to do that on stage. More part of what you do is that as much as the music. Is that true?
I would say it is definitely true. It's just sort of a organic thing that started happening in my performances. I kind of gave some background and a little context for each of the tunes that I played, and
Yeah.
people commented how much they really appreciated that, and that sort of expanded into more filled out stories and more information about the actual execution of the tunes and so forth. And so, yeah, that's always been a feature of my performances. And then it just seems sort of natural to just start expanding on that in the teaching realm. So that's when I kind of go to schools and make presentations and also teach a lot of master classes and private lessons and so forth.
Yes. Yes, and it's so true. One of the reviews I read, I believe someone said, very intellectually stimulating as well as a musical experience, which I can see what he means now, what he meant by that very much.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, and he's right. I've never thought too much about that. So many songs have been played on a stage, and I'm standing there, and it'd be nice to know a little bit of history behind it. I know that some people wouldn't know it themselves or be good at presenting it like you are.
Yeah, I
Have the
appreciate that.
demeanor, have the demeanor you have in the connection with the audience. And if you didn't care as much about it, you probably wouldn't be able to present it as you do.
The passion is the magic formula.
Absolutely.
In the earlier part of my life, I did a lot of different styles of music. I played on cruise ships and I played in classical symphonies and
Yeah.
whatnot. But then I always had this adoration for Celtic arts, Celtic music, and bagpipes and so forth. And finally, I just decided to go with my heart and do the music that means the most to me personally. And I think that really does translate in my performances. People sense that I'm just completely mad for the music. It's just my true passion.
Oh, fantastic, Jamie. Well, you're going to fit right in up at Quechee, Vermont on the 24th of August. I'll tell you, there's going to be, let me see, Vermont Folk Life is one of the organizations that will be there.
Mhm.
They're big into cultural preservation, music, and much and far beyond that too. I think the fabric arts and other things like that as well, furniture even, I believe, and also Revels North, which is a New Hampshire organization, does a lot to preserve um, the music, dance, and some of the performance stage arts as well. And so you're going to be fitting in right just great with that group.
I appreciate that. Well, it's a special event for me because I haven't spent as much time in New England for the last few years as I would have liked. Before the pandemic, I was starting to come up to those general states, Massachusetts, Vermont,
Mhm.
New Hampshire, et cetera.
Yep.
On a regular basis, I was really actually thinking of maybe settling there.
Mhm.
So I was trying to kind of get a little inertia going, and then the pandemic happened, and I really haven't been up there since. So I'm really eager to kind of sort of rekindle some of those affectionate connections.
Sure. That's great. Vermont is a different speed than Massachusetts, where I reside. I spent a lot of time up there as a small boy, probably like 6 to 12 or so, and it's just a different world up there, and I truly love it. You can step off the curb up there without worrying about becoming a becoming a manhole cover.
Roadkill, yeah.
Yeah.
um, when I very first did visit Vermont, because I haven't been to this Queechee area in the Hartford area, but I visited Burlington and Montpelier a couple, 3 times,
Oh, okay.
Brattleboro. So I've seen a few areas. What struck me right from the get-go was just how wild and woolly it is. I mean, they're just like there were wonderful forests and just fewer people, and that really appeals to me. So I don't know. I'm kind of a woods boy. I really love the forests and so and that's I'm looking forward to kind of spending time away from the kind of congested urban areas.
Yes. Yeah. Brattleboro, a very big arts town.
Mm,
As you know, probably they have a huge arts district there, which I
yeah.
which I enjoyed myself. I don't know much about Burlington, but I think it's similar, and it's a college town as well. So I'm sure there's a lot of music oriented events going on there too.
Yeah.
Um, right. So the group that runs the Queechee Games is called Scottish Arts, and they do a lot. Speaking of preserving the music, they do a lot of in the teaching of piping and dancing, drumming and fiddling, and in New England. So they're a great group that I truly support, and I'm proud to be here with you to give them a hand to get some folks up to the Queechee Games on the 24th.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Claire McPherson, one of the organizers of that, she told me a little story, just a little tiny tidbit, and it really caught my eye. This was, or my ear. This is maybe a good month ago. It was about you, Jamie. Maybe your ears were ringing, but that the fiddle can be used to produce or bring us fiddle, I should say, bagpipe music. It was said that perhaps the fiddle somewhat saved bagpipe music because it could not be played any longer after a period in history in the late 1700s there, mid 1700s. And I know she said that could, by some people, perhaps yourself, that could be replicated or could be tried to, I should say, attempted to. What do you think about that?
Um, it is true, all of those things. And Claire definitely knows her stuff, being a piper and so forth. So after Culloden in 1745,
Yep.
really that was kind of that ushered in the death of the bagpipes for a period of time.
Yes.
And so it's true that the music was kept alive by the fiddle. At that
Amazing.
time, it was just happened to kind of coincide with the English Baroque period. So the
Okay.
violin in the British Isles was all the rage, as it were.
Oh, all right.
And
Yep.
so it was then
Huh.
just sensible for pipers to pick up fiddles and keep playing the same tunes. Certainly there are tunes that fit on certain instruments and other tunes that are kind of more universal.
I see.
So the pipe tunes do kind of require some adaptation because the pipes are different. They don't have a bow. We have a bow.
Right.
And also they can't play as many notes. They can only play 9 different notes, and we can play a lot of notes. So
Okay.
it's just there are some tunes that fit really nicely. Like when you have a lot of filigree, a lot of ornamentation that are always done with the fingers in the bagpipes.
Okay.
That's typically translated onto the fiddle. Maybe not 100% successful. I mean, if they're great tunes, they still sound great, but maybe they're never going to sound quite as stunning.
Uh-huh.
When you have like a, like a,
Yes.
where you have like a lot of little filigree type of things.
I see.
That kind of just is the Highland pipe specialty that's never going to sound quite as marvelous on the fiddle.
Right.
But we can do other things that they can't do, right? I mean, we have the extra notes, so they don't have certain notes like that. and they don't have the range. They don't have those low notes either.
I
See,
see.
so
Okay.
um, I think we do our best to replicate the pipe music, and then you can kind of mix it with fiddle music, and they sometimes even do their best to replicate fiddle music on the
Oh,
pipes.
okay.
I think the most popular tunes that are played in sessions are a little bit more universal, where they'll sound really great on any instrument, whistle,
Okay. Yeah.
guitar, what have you, pipes, fiddle, etc.
Right.
So there's a place for all of those. I particularly have a fondness for the Highland pipe tunes, and I think in my next life I'll come back as a piper because I just really love those. So I do my best to make as close of a replication as possible to those tunes, just because I feel like the spirit has such pathos and such emotion in the Highland sound.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And the two little pieces you just did, I could tell that in one it was more of, I would say, bridges between sounds, like or transitions between sounds were smoother or were obvious or existed at all. It might be what you did. That's somewhat of what my untrained ears heard.
Yeah, well, sometimes they make the remark, the music happens in between the notes.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
And
maybe
that's a
that's what
little
I meant.
esoteric, but basically, you can separate notes. You can separate by going like, you can use the bow for that. That would be the fiddle approach. But since the pipes don't have a bow, they'll use their fingers. So they'll go, right, with little tiny strikes to identify the different separated notes,
Okay.
as opposed to
I see. Okay.
right. So I try to go the extra mile and just use the fingers rather than the bow, because the
During
bow
one
is way easier. Hmm?
during one long stroke, you're adjusting with the fingers rather than short
That,
strokes.
that's right. Yeah.
I see.
Which is, it's a lot more difficult because it means you have to play twice as many notes. But
Okay. All
it
right.
does give that smoothness that you were mentioning just a second ago, right? Because
Yes.
then, because the bow sort of becomes like the long string of air, long stream that
Sure.
the
Okay.
pipers are creating. So you get them, this long sound, and then you, as opposed to,
Yes.
right?
Sure.
So, as I said a second ago, there's a place for both, but
Right.
my particular interest is rendering the pipe music as closely as I can.
Right. I can see that. And you're going to be at the Cayley with Eamon Sefton at the Tweetchie Games.
Yeah.
What particular kind of music would you say is Cayley music? To me, to my untrained eye, it's just fiddle music, or it's many other instruments as well. The certain dances, so you're going to play certain songs for those dances, I suppose.
Right, right. So Cayley dances are the popular favorite type of social dance that are done for all kinds of occasions in
Hmm.
Scotland. I've played for Cayley dances for high school proms, for weddings, for just festivals where they're like this one actually in Queechee, just
Yep.
like families coming together and having a lot of fun. They're meant to be very, very casual and easy to dance, and kind of mixes everybody with everybody else in the room, so you sort of meet a lot of people,
Right.
and don't require previous experience, right? It's just get up and have fun and go through some suggested moves and so forth together. So to make them as easy as possible to dance, it's choosing the right tempo. That's one of the main things. So you got to
Okay.
find tunes that actually are appropriate with the type of beat you're trying to achieve,
Okay.
and that's different than when you're up on stage, when you don't have to worry about like making that certain groove for the dancers. And so oftentimes on stage, I might be playing like roaringly fast, just because it's exciting,
Yep.
and maybe I've got an arrangement all cooked up and it's like really fun. So it's
Sure.
more of listening music. And that's
Okay.
fine. But then when it comes to dancing, Cayley dancing in particular, like it's just really important to choose the appropriate rhythm and the appropriate groove so that
Yes.
everybody has this maximum fun factor, moving.
Right. And so I'd imagine if it's that involved, Jamie, you would be consulting beforehand with Eamon Sefton. He's a Boston area guitarist that's going to be up there with you, and Alex Cumming as well. He's going to be calling the Kaylee, everyone, helping everyone learn the dances. So I'm sure you guys have to get into a huddle about this, Jamie.
Yeah, it helps if a person such as Alex and Eamon both they know the genre backwards, forwards, inside out. So that's kind of essential so
Yeah.
that you can put it together quickly.
Okay.
So it can't just be any guitar player picking up their guitar and strum, strum, strum on C, F, and G chords. There's a
Okay.
really specific way. And so Eamon he's been steeped in Scottish music since he was a kid. And so he knows the groove, he knows the
Right.
different types of rhythms. And so all you really have to do is just kind of give him a broad outline. Like I'm going
Right.
to do like four tunes and they're in D, A, and E or whatever. So like you kind of give the framework and then you start playing and he knows that sound immediately. So fits together quite easily.
Yeah. And the pace of it all has to be directed towards someone who's new at it, correct?
Yeah, well, especially in this setting. So Alex will be calling dances that are pre-known or pre-approved to be really user-friendly ones that can be taught easily and
Oh,
quickly.
okay. Yeah.
Um, there are different styles of social dancing, and so the Ceilidh dancing is kind of meant to be the entry point for everybody, right? And then
Okay.
as a person becomes more experienced, they can kind of do other styles. So
Okay.
there's the Irish set dancing, which is a little bit more formalized than that, and you move up in complexity till you get to the pinnacle, which is the Scottish country dancing, which we won't be doing, per se. But that's the highly formalized, just like every move and nuance and all the movements with the other dancers. These are all
Yes.
just very, very beautifully polished and refined. So you have to actually, like study that. But when that comes together, that's really lovely because it's kind of almost more of a performance art. And then of course there's the Highland dancing, which we'll see the girls with the arms in the air, and
Oh,
that's
okay. Sure.
also very, very trained. That's
Right.
not really meant as a social dance, though. That one is kind of like goes one step further. And so that's just a solo performance type of dancing. But again, that's just it requires a lot of training.
Right. Yeah. There's a group in northern Maine. I wish I could think of the name that does a lot of Scottish country dancing, and I read some of their posts about upcoming events, and it's pretty much a foreign language. I don't know. They're trying to list which dance they're doing, or which steps, or which even the phase of it, or this or that, and it is their own language. I can see it's almost a science to them, and I
Well,
applaud them for it.
those dance styles come out of centuries of passing the tradition on to the next generation and the next generation, and
Yeah.
they sort of stem out of a time when that was the main form of entertainment, right? This is like
Oh.
long before electricity and
Mhm.
world travel or whatever. So that's what people had, and so they were dancing all the time, right? And then over generations, they just get more and more refined about what they're doing and,
Oh
and
yeah.
kind of add complexity little by little until it becomes a true art form.
Right. Evolution of the music, you might say.
Exactly.
I know I've seen some of that Morris dancing. I know that's related to that in some manner or another. Um, and also, is it Alex Cumming has some in his repertoire of the sea shanties and the naval type of ones. I particularly like those myself.
Yeah.
Um, They're part of the
Um,
whole scene in a way.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly all of these forms are sort of related in some fashion. A lot of them are really based in a very strong, identifiable groove or
Okay.
pulse.
Hmm.
And so whether it's a vocal song, like a song, not a tune, but a song where even that might have an element of jigs, for example, which
Okay.
is a dance form, but they'd be singing already hup da ho da ho da hoon da whatever their words are, and it would feel danceable in a way, you know. And then likewise, there's sort of this cross pollination because the dance tunes that are actually being played by instrumentalists for dancing have a melodic element, so they're kind of like somewhat hummable, even as people are dancing and listening
Okay.
to the pipes or whatever. But you know, there's this hummable quality, you know, like dun 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 dun. I've even had that, like I've played for dancers where I hear the dancers humming or singing along with the tune in some ways just because it's catchy, you know.
Okay. Yeah. Right. And speaking of impromptu music and dancing at Koichi, also August the 24th, it's going to be something called, let me see, was it Instrument Petting Zoo, where this is the Vermont Folklife Group, and they're bringing lots of instruments that just anyone can walk into a tent, I suppose, and give them a try. No experience necessary. I quite like that idea, Jamie.
I might be visiting myself there because it's always fun to try other instruments that one hadn't
Yeah,
had an opportunity to experiment with. You know, it's just it's kind of set up to invite people to try an instrument they might want to actually learn. You know, for real.
yeah,
So you know, it's a chance to play a few notes and here's how you hold it and that kind of thing. And who knows, maybe some people will kind of take a fancy to it and then eventually like seek it out and take lessons and learn it for real.
sure. It's part of preservation, right? If the stuff was behind a fence somewhere or a sheet of glass, then be less people willing to try it or thinking they even could.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I can't wait to get to Vermont, Jamie. I don't drink, so it'll have to be maple syrup if you want me to buy you a drink.
It's kind of part of the culture. The you know ale and whiskey is just kind of another beverage, but yeah,
Absolutely.
you'll be in good company.
Yes, and Vermont also cheddar cheese. Oh my gosh, the Vermont cheese is
Mhm.
another highlight up there.
There's plenty to recommend Vermont that I'd like to explore more. And yeah, I think after this engagement, I think I'll be wanting to come up more regularly and just tap into the really great scene up there, the culture and the music and the you know, as you said, the cuisine.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope they'll be there again this year. A few years ago, one of the guys that was there with the sheep and the sheepdogs and all, they also had a lamb sausage stand that they were selling, and boy, was that good.
Mm.
Nothing like local food and supporting the local folks right in the mountains up there. And that's one of the great parts of this that I love.
I mean, you're there for the whole day, so naturally you're going to want to eat. And why would you want to just have the same old that you'd have at any other type of
Right,
fare, the burgers and fries or whatever? Let's just do actually Scottish food because that's not really available all the time.
right, exactly. And listen to some Scottish music with Jamie Laval, Eamon Sefton, and Alex Cumming will be the caller. So when we say calling, I think right away of square dancing because I'm not very versed in this, but that calling is done in a few different country dancing also has a caller. Is that true?
Yeah, you're right. The caller is a loose term, right? Because they're not actually barking out the moves all through the dance. It's basically the moves are shown at the beginning, right?
All right.
And then it's like, oh, I see what we're gonna do. Okay, and then the caller just like lets it go, you know, lets people dance and have fun. And so yeah, so they're not gonna be like with a megaphone going like do si do or whatever. You don't have that.
Yes. So when you say you played at Kaylee's uh for weddings and such, that would be a caller there with you as well.
Of course, yeah. I mean, it's you kind of do need it. There was a time, of course, in history when everybody knew how to do those dances. It was just
Okay.
like the young tykes and the old codgers and families, rich and poor and stuff like that. Everybody knew the dances, so you didn't really need to have anybody teach them. You know,
Okay.
if you in the complicated dancers, the more wealthy families would have a dancing master who would actually come to their house and teach them, you know, some of the fancier dances.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But that this was just much more of a household thing. But we don't do that today, so people don't know how to do these dances, even the simple ones. So
Right.
that's why, like, anytime you're going to have a ceilidh dance, even in Scotland, quite frankly, like if there's a festival or a wedding, and there's
Yep.
a dance that's going to happen, there will still be somebody who will, walk everybody through the dance right before it gets started. Just,
Right.
oh, I see what we're doing. Okay. And then, so that's just kind of how it's done now.
Right. And if I was out there, it might prevent a few injuries as well, which is a bonus.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah. You got to have to be, kind of respectful of your neighbors. So you don't smash into them.
right, right. Or maybe you'll meet some friends that way or something like that.
Well, that's part of the laughter too. I mean, one classic case is when people don't know the dance, the gay Gordons, which is actually one of the entry level easiest dances. But so not everybody knows it. That's okay. So it's taught, and there's this classic moment that always happens. There's the walkthrough. And that's all fine. And so you're going to walk forward with your partner, and then you're going to twizzle around, and then walk backward with your partner, and then
Yep.
forward, and then backward, and so forth. And sure enough, once the music starts and people start dancing, and they forget, and they walk forward and then forward again, and they bash into the ones who are going
Right.
backwards. And it's like, and then everyone has a great laugh. Oh, sorry. And
Yeah.
then you continue. So that's kind of part of the fun of it.
Right. That's always a bumpy one, but it's supposed to be. I've seen that. I saw that at let me see, was it either Robert Burns night or something this year. And yeah,
Mhm.
you're right. There was a little bit of a beeping, and no beeping when you back up.
Right, right, right. Exactly.
I think they had two or three couples that knew what had done it before, demonstrated a little bit beforehand, Jamie. So that helps everybody out some.
Yeah.
If you can see it done, then you're okay. Maybe
Yeah,
you're not all
I mean,
set,
it's
but
just whatever happens out there. I mean, sometimes it just breaks down to complete pandemonium. I've seen the dance Strip the Willow, which is kind of a little bit more in and out and sort of a little bit more complicated. And I've seen that completely just fall apart, but it's fine. It's like everybody has a wonderful time trying, and it's like, whoa, where do I go now? Oh, excuse me. Then it's just
yeah,
kind of part of the loose enjoyment of it.
right. And it usually starts, does it, or maybe ends, or both oh, they've got their arms in the air and everyone walks below, or they come down in couples and walk below, then they split it around and come
Yeah,
around.
well, yeah, you're describing the Virginia Reel,
Oh,
and
okay.
yes, that's one of the very popular ones.
Hmm.
And because you got a lot of different moves in it, and they're all kind of fun. And then after the first couple of times through it, it's like, oh, I got it now. Okay, yay! And then everybody's kind of in the groove of it, and you get into this kind of what's called dance bliss. A lot of people talk about, oh, that was dance bliss, where everybody's kind of got their thing together,
Yeah.
and so you can just, the rest of the dance just has this wonderful sort of mesmerizing trancy kind of quality that's just really lovely.
It's so great to watch, Jamie, as well. I mean, a grandfather with a little one maybe or something like that, and just everyone's having a great time. It's just it's so unifying. It really is.
Yeah, yeah, I love it.
And everyone leaves smiling. I know I did.
Mhm.
And let me see. Eamon Sefton. I haven't got a hold of him yet for an interview. I was hoping to. He has quite a wide range of genres, so I'm quite glad he's able to fit right in with you. Like you say, his upbringing is quite close to this.
He definitely is a composer of songs and a singer-songwriter, and loves popular music as well. Plays in a couple of different tunings on his guitar that are appropriate to whatever genre.
Okay.
So he kind of bounces around a little bit. One of the things he does is very often lead sessions, and that's, I could say jam session, except that the official term is session. But
Yeah.
this is like meeting down at the pub and everybody playing together, right? Well,
Okay.
when you're a session leader, you really get this Celtic sound embedded in your anatomy. There's the movement of the consonant rhythmic strum pattern,
Yeah.
and the sort of the constant groove of the jigs and reels and so forth. And you get that really embedded in your body. he does a lot of these sessions, and that gives him the ability then to just turn up at a gig, such as with me, and just pull the instrument out and just off he goes. He's just instantly in that groove,
Oh,
because of those sessions where it's just hour after hour of that like really grooving, pulsing music.
right. Well, I'm so glad he and Alex Cumming and yourself have all had your schedules come together for us for Queechee games on the 24th in Vermont. That's great news that you're all able to make it, and you're all going to fit together. I can tell that right now.
I appreciate that. Thanks. I'm
And
looking forward
everyone
to
needs to fit their feet in their own place at the Kaylee afterwards.
it. Yeah.
After the opening ceremony, I believe they're going to all assemble at the Kaylee, and Alex Alex plays accordion commonly. He's going to be calling, and I've seen some of the videos of him calling. He really has a great voice for that. He really acts the part of a lot of different things that he does, especially the sea chanty things. I know that takes a little bit of a portrayal, and he does that quite well.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's great to have more than one performer at these things. So, yeah, so we'll do the Kaylee together, and then we'll have a couple of main stage performances with no dancing, just so we can really cut loose on the wild arrangements.
Oh, great. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I was wondering if it was going to be all just dancing, or I should say the Kaylee. So there'll be a couple of sessions of that during the day.
Yeah, throughout the day. Yes.
Okay, lovely. Yeah, I'm going to be at the Clanhattan Association tent at the Clan Village there.
Hmm.
There'll be at least usually there's 2, 3 dozen clans at this or more. We have a good turnout for that, and of course the uh, the the sheepdog trials will be there, and the complete 9 game heavy athletics will be on the field there as well. And it's a beautiful place. Uh, you get there, you're in the woods, literally. There's not a building there. There's very few buildings within half a mile of this field anyway, but there's certainly none in sight there. And just a beautiful meadow down in between the hills. I can't wait to get up there.
That's
QTGames.org. What's
I
that?
always enjoy that is both the music and the athletics going on at the same time, which is just kind of adds to the whole verve
Right.
of the whole experience. And I'll be playing away on stage, on the main stage, and in the middle of like maybe I'm not even doing anything especially unusual at that particular second. I'm just kind of making a long note or something, and then I'll hear this roar, and I was
Yeah,
like, "Wow, what's that?" And somebody just scored the caber toss where they made it flip over or whatever, and the
yeah,
crowd goes wild, and right in
right,
the middle of the music, it just kind of adds to the fun.
right. 12 o'clock just happened.
Yeah.
Right. Well, speaking of time, I think we're just about out of time, Jamie. I appreciate you coming on the Touchdown Channel. This has been a great talk. Thanks
Well,
so much
thank
for
you.
coming
Yeah, I've
on.
enjoyed speaking with you as well.
And I hope we illustrated what's going to go on at the Queechee Games and the importance of preserving this kind of music for everyone.
Mm.
Which, of course, the young ones coming out that day to see this for the first time, most likely, and hopefully will be affected enough by it to want to pursue it. Just a few of them, and that'll make it all worthwhile.
Yeah, well, I hope it's going to be a good turnout. Yeah, this is going to be a special one for me, so it'll be really great to see people out.
Okay, great. Well, safe travels up to Vermont, and we'll see you soon, Jamie. Thanks for
Okay,
coming
sounds
on.
great. Thanks very much, Ray.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Touch not.